The estuary, where the river meets the ocean, where fish are spawned and oysters harvested, where travelers pause to enjoy the beach, where massive ships come into port. Healthy estuaries are critical to the economic vitality of our country. Funded by the EPA, the National Estuary Program, or NEP, was established by the Clean Water Act as a non-regulatory, consensus-based, locally driven program that works with local partners for clean water and healthy estuaries.
We have a serious nutrient problem on Cape Cod. There's simply too much nitrogen in our embayments. Most of it comes from human pollution, primarily septic systems, and to a lesser extent, fertilizer from our lawns.
So this is Grassy Bar Estuary Company. It's a family business. People love to live around bays and estuaries, and so they're highly impacted environments. To be able to harvest oysters right out of our estuary, the water has to be really clean. We're completely dependent on the rest of the people in the estuary, in the watershed, to take care of the water quality here.
We strongly suspect that this fecal contamination is coming from leaking in failed septic systems not very far away from the public beach. And just think about that, how critical that is. If it continues to degrade, it will have a very negative effect on our local economy.
The challenge for us is to sort of recreate areas in our urban watersheds that are naturalized again. As development occurred, we buried many of the tributaries to our streams. We also paved over the natural land with streets, with pavements, with buildings, so that rainwater can no longer infiltrate into the soil. You have a large quantity of flow going into those storm drains, which discharge into the creek.
It's this non-point pollution problem. It's this multitudes of sources. You know, you don't know if it's pet waste, if it's fertilizers, if it's septic systems, if it's agricultural runoff. In 2005, 30,000 acres, somewhere around 30% of our growing areas were restricted to harvest due to pollution.
Environmental issues, including watershed, aren't aligned and don't follow political boundaries. At the end of the day, we're left to deal with those ramifications and to address those issues. A great example is the Joe's Branch project. You had an issue that was originating in one community, downstream effects were in another community. It could not have been done by one municipality alone. I think everyone recognized there was a problem, but it took leadership in order to bring all the necessary parties to the table, and the Mobile Bay NEP was instrumental in doing that.
NEPs have definitely benefited West Basin Municipal Water District. It is a collaborative model which involves stakeholders from the industry, from governmental agencies, from the public, and scientists.
The NEP provides a very valuable service to this community and to this estuary because it brings together the governmental entities, the industry, and the environmental community, all with a common purpose.
The National Estuary Program has provided an avenue for diverse stakeholders at all levels to come together and solve complex challenges facing our country's ports, harbors, and bays. With so many different users of its natural resources, estuaries like the Delaware River and Bay rely on the NEP to provide a systematic approach to the benefit of all who work, live, and play in the estuary.
Water quality underpins everything else we do. If we can't get that right, then it has a ripple effect with the rest of our work. And so that makes it extremely important. Now that I understand, I can become a preacher, I can become an evangelist for the NEP and the way that it affects the way we provide services to people that we represent.